full screen.
Hey guys, here we are. I think it's episode number 9, but if I'm wrong, I know my girl Terry Williamson will keep me on track. She'll be jumping on here shortly, I'm sure. But I'm out here in beautiful Encinitas, California with my good buddy, and I'm so pumped for this show, the Monster Motivator
You're pumped
TV.
all the time.
I am so pumped.
Always pumped.
I am so pumped for this show because, first of all, his name is Dr. Jeff Salz, and he's actually my speaking coach. He's helped me out tremendously, and I had the privilege to share the stage with him back in January in the Carlsbad Theater. But the things that he's done on the time he's been on this earth makes most people look like they're standing still, right? I know he just had a birthday. You're what, 45?
The 26.
So I just tell him I'm 25, just had a rough paper route.
Exactly.
Right? So
I'm old.
But give you a little bit of what I know that he's accomplished. First of all, he's a doctor. Second of all, he's
Actually, no, I just play one on TV.
That's right. He's professor, professional rock climber, had his own reality show, and has been a professional speaker for over 20 years, just all over the country. He's been, I don't even know, it'd be, a better question is, where haven't you been?
Home much.
That's right. That's right. But so a little bit of background. I'll throw it over to Jeff. He can introduce himself and give some insight, because I want to share with you a little bit later on his new business venture, and it could really help a lot of people out there. So I'm really excited to share that. But I want to have him elaborate a little bit more on where he's been, where he came from, where he's been, and where he's going. So there you go, pal.
Yeah, do I talk to you or I talk to them? I talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Problem with Dave, he's been very challenging to work with because he has no energy. He has no enthusiasm whatsoever. So I don't know how he'll ever be a success in life. All he does is run around, jump and scream and love people, and they love him back. And he's full of brilliant ideas, but he's got to do something with. I just got to say a word about Dave Daley, the Monster Motivator. It's very rare. I've been in the business for 20 years, and you more than that actually. And you meet people who come alive on stage. This guy comes alive all the time, and it's very rare to meet someone who is in life the way he is when he's performing, because he doesn't perform. This guy He just, I don't know what it is. You've got your finger in some kind of cosmic energy socket, and he lights up a room. And it's just a delight to be here with him and with you guys.
Yeah, no, and it's been awesome working with Jeff as far as speaking coaches. We just connected from day one. It's like peanut butter and jelly, man. He just let me do my thing, and the reason that I connected with him so well is just because I'm not a guy that's going to be in a box, and quite frankly, I don't even know what that box is. I don't never paint inside the lines, and neither does Jeff. So we just hit it off from day one, and he just really helped me put together a real story that has a direction and really means something. So anybody out there even thinking about speaking professionally, speaking publicly for their work, for a career, you got to reach out to this guy, because he lets you be who you are. And I've never had that before in any type of speaking coach. So that being said, you have to hear the things that this guy has done over the last, I'd say, what, 50 years?
Yeah.
Over the last 50 years, right?
Yeah, by the age of 13, 14, I was traveling in the summertime, coming out from New Jersey originally. But you know the continental tilt theory that all the loose nuts have rolled.
Yes.
And this guy, that's something else.
Jersey, right?
It's Jersey. You can take the Jersey out of the boy.
Right.
But, yeah. But I think I'd say that coming from New Jersey was I got to say, and if you're living in New Jersey, I don't mean to offend you, but it's a bit of a cultural and can be a spiritual deprivation zone. That there's an awful lot of people, God bless my parents, but they conformed, and my relatives conformed, and I just knew from an early age that I wanted to be fully alive. And so I would go to New York City, and I was a kid, 13 or 14, and I'd hang out in Central Park with no money, and I would sleep on the benches, and I would get chased by the cops, and because I just wanted to know more about life than I was being given in my suburban neighborhood. So my whole life has been a quest for, I guess, what you call adventure, but I'd say it really is a quest for aliveness. that somewhere in there I just received an understanding from looking around the world and said, I need to be the person about whom stories are told, not a person who tells stories about others or reads about things in books. So because of that, as Dave is so eloquently portrayed, I've done 2 or 3 shows for the History Discovery channels, Travel Channel. I've written a book. I've basically traveled the world exploring and climbing. I've named mountains for my daughter on her 9th birthday in the Himalayas. You know, I've gone around Lake Titicaca in a boat. It's actually, all I'll say is that I'm now 63 years of age. And people say, what's on your bucket list? And I say, no, I have nothing, because it was on my list. It happened a long time ago. So then that's the beauty. I believe if you live a life fully and you have no regrets at the end, then you've done it right. If you're coming to retire and there's an awful lot left undone, at that point, you're probably tired and you're probably conditioned to not take risks. So I'm writing a new book now, and I'm doing a new presentation called Into Thin Hair, The Adventure of a Lifetime. And my message to my audience is that to be satisfied at the end of life is to never be fearful, which is your territory, but to be fearful of taking risks and living your dreams throughout. You can't postpone life. You have to give yourself permission to explore all the time. And then no matter the outcome, you've been successful, because a life fully lived is what life is all about.
Yeah, and you know, hey, Terry, I knew she'd be out there. So, you know, really, ultimately, you're going to be able to say that, hey, you left nothing on the table for you, right? No regrets. And what else is out there? Now, you know, bring whatever else you have. I mean, that's the ultimate position to be in, because you were able to do that. You know, you weren't, there was no box for you, right? You're the ultimate poster boy for not coloring inside the lines. But at the same time, what's interesting to me is you were still able to get through, really prosper and do really well with the traditional system. You know, because you got your PhD.
I did.
So
I taught 10 years at San Diego State University.
Yeah. So you really have both of those, because that's my, you know, that's where it just doesn't work for me, right? The traditional school systems.
Well, Mark Twain said it best. Mark Twain said, never let your schooling interfere with your education.
Oh, and so that's what I want to touch on. See, all the schooling you've done, right? Everything that you've done in the traditional realm, is there anything that you could compare in a classroom versus what you've done in real life, as far as the wisdom you've acquired? Because I believe there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Right?
Absolutely.
I believe wisdom is really where it's at.
Yeah.
You know. So is that?
No, that's a good question. I remember when I was invited at age 23 to teach at San Diego State University.
Okay.
And I was among all these professors who had graduated from major Ivy League universities. And I went out teaching the most, and I guess I'm blowing my own horn here a little bit. It was the most successful, the largest non-required class ever taught in the history of San Diego State, because there was a sense of excitement. So I believe I was, and I won teaching awards because I was interested in education, not doing research. So I was a teacher who was teaching. I was lecturing and professing for the right reasons, for the education and the edification of my students. But more than that, I was kind of initially very concerned I'd be around these amazing people, that I would, because of my lack of structured education, have less to bring to an educational environment. But I found in that moment that everything I had done, living with Native Americans in Central America, discovering Mayan tribes, living with the Gauchos, climbing these mountains, crossing deserts, what I brought to my students and what I brought to the faculty was a kind of aliveness and a kind of wisdom, just as you said, that all the book learning in the world would never offer. So, I mean, I'm a strong proponent that there are those of us who learn better, like you do, experientially.
Hands-on.
Yeah.
I'm a hands-on guy.
But even if you are an individual who thrives in a more academic environment, unless you do the thing, not just read about the thing, but experience the thing, you never really find that, what Schumacher called adequatio. To really grow large enough to understand life is you have to, like if you read a book, it's all about love, and you've never been in love, the word is stupid.
Right.
You know,
what does it mean?
What does it mean?
Right.
So if you read these great thoughts, these great ideas in books, but you've never had the experience, they mean nothing.
Right.
So if you don't insist on either going beyond the book learning, me put it this way, you need to have a personal experiential component, direct experience in life, to develop any sense of meaning or purpose or connection to the great ideas, the great emotions of the greatest literature, and to understand what facts actually mean. You don't have a context for those facts unless you've been out there.
Right, unless you've lived it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference.
Yeah.
That when the rubber meets the road, that's the difference. Share some of the stories. I mean, what are some of the biggest mountains you've climbed? I mean, it's just amazing.
Well, you know, no, I haven't climbed that many huge mountains. I mean, I've always pursued the wildest areas of the planet because I always knew that the society we have is encroaching on the truly wild and primitive places.
Yeah, we're losing it.
Yeah, so I've done a number of first ascents of mountains that were not really well known. In fact, I got to name a number of mountains through the years.
Oh.
Mountains in Patagonia, mountains in the Himalayas, and they've only been 11,000 feet, for example.
But you were looking more towards what hasn't been conquered.
Yeah, like
right?
yeah, going up this one ridge in the Great Himalayan National Park of India, we saw this amazing tower that rose above the glaciers, only 17,000 feet high. I mean, that's not high by Himalayan standards.
Right.
So I asked the park, he was the park superintendent we were with, has anyone ever climbed the mountain? He said no. So I came back with a group a year later, and we were able to climb on 9/11. We climbed this peak that had never been climbed before called Chakri Peak, 17,000 feet. But the cool thing was it was 9/11. We had a Hindu, a Buddhist, a Jew, a Mormon, and a Catholic.
You had the UN.
We had the UN. And we had a sign that said peace, you know, peace, in different languages. So I think that mountain climbing is important only in that it's symbolic. It symbolizes not conquering anything, but an accomplishment of something done with friends or done by an individual alone in nature. But still, it's only symbolic. So that climbing a peak that had not been climbed before with a delegation of assorted religions and faiths and cultures, that was to me, that was probably the best climb I've ever done.
And you know, the word you used is so vital to, I'm going to make a point here because it's accomplishment, right? Yeah. That's, as humans, that's how we're built.
Yeah.
We're built, whatever that is for you though, right? Yeah. You know what that means for you, right? So I'm excited to share your story with people out there because if they're saying, should I do it? It's not the perfect time. Maybe I'll do it next year. And my whole thing is, and I love this quote, you know, a real entrepreneur, the DNA of an entrepreneur, a real entrepreneur, is you're jumping off that cliff and building a plane on the way down because there's no perfect plane. Yeah. And if you wait to build that perfect plane, you never leave.
That's also a description of an ADD person.
Yeah, that's
what has to get done.
I'm the poster child.
Exactly. Don't ask us to do a long-term project, but throw us off a cliff and we'll build a plane on the way down.
And we'll take you with us, right? And that's been my whole life, is really pulling people through the fear barriers. Yeah. But I had to get, in order to survive, I had to figure out how, you know, I always say, make sure you understand your weaknesses and support them with other people or other things, right? And double down on your strengths. So for me, it was I had to identify my weaknesses and and in business, my weakness is not the organization, the back end, the paperwork, the office work. That's what I hate, right? I want to be out front. I'm the sales guy. I'm the front guy, the marketing, branding. So I always had to position my companies almost in reverse. What's my weakness? How do I support that? Yeah. And then let me be free to be me. Yeah, is really what it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, I think in business, and I've had the pleasure and honor of working with the top executives at Microsoft and Google. I mean, the C-suite executives at Disney and all that.
So you've spoken at Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 200 companies.
Not just spoken, but designed very hands-on training for the C-suite executives.
Oh, see, I never knew that.
Yeah, well, it's a lot you don't know about.
No, I mean that's
Silicon Valley up in Redmond. Okay, it's Redmond where Microsoft is. Yeah. Working with the C-suite executives up there. Okay. And because we did teamwork, and one of the keys of teamwork is exactly what you said, is helping people discover who they truly are and what they have a passion for. Okay. And so if you have a group of passionate individuals working together with separate and but not siloed, but distinct skills and capacities, right, that team presents an incredible tapestry that can't be torn. You know, it's interwoven in such a way. Everyone's excellence, but diverse excellence coming together with a sense of unity and authenticity creates a team that can't be stopped.
So it's a brotherhood. You know, for lack of a better term, it's a brotherhood. Dina, thank you so much. Terry, we absolutely agree with you. Life experience is the greatest teacher of all. It's, you know, like we talk about, you know, life gives you the test, you know, first. You know, but that's how you learn. That's how you figure it out. What are some of the other things? What are some of the other things that you've done that I don't know about?
Some cannot be spoken.
That you're allowed to say on live stream.
Unless I hardly know you people.
Right, the statute of limitations.
Yeah,
right?
I don't actually know what you don't know about it. We've actually shared a lot in the last 6 months, year that we've known each other.
Yeah, I know. One of the other things, what I do want to talk about for sure is what he's got going now as far as his professional speaking, or actually, would you consider it just professional speakers, or what is your class? Who do you want to bring on?
Oh, it's courageous speaking.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's
want to touch on.
Yeah, let me talk about courageous speaking. Is, you know, give you guys some content out there. I have been a speaker for over 20 years. I've never not made 6 figures, sometimes high, sometimes low, but 20-something years. And what I like about that is I don't do anything. I don't produce anything useful besides tell stories.
Right. It's
a kind of a marvelous thing to have gone through my life. When you're an adventurer, to do the things you want to do, and the worse it gets, the better off you are, because it makes for a better story. So when things suck, it's okay. When things really suck, it's great.
Right.
You know, right. This really sucks. Good story. You know. So, what I'm doing now is helping people, because I'm at a certain age where it behooves me and enthuses me to help individuals learn to do that themselves. So I've become more an enthusiast of the teaching part, although I did speak in Coronado a day before yesterday, and it was fun. I love being on the stage, but like someone like Dave, to meet Dave and say, you know what, you're an amazing human being. And I think one thing happened with Dave, he had other instructors that said, change this, change this, change that.
Watch, count your ums, do this, where's your hands? You know, I'm going to jump in, I love telling this story. Here's when I knew I could work with Jeff. I said, so what do I do with my hands? Or I said, what do you do with your hands when you're talking? He goes, I have no idea. I go, beautiful. That's all I need to know. I knew I could work with this guy because, again, he lets you paint outside the lines because that's how he lives his life. And before he goes on, let me just kind of back it up a little bit. How I met Jeff was I'm on the email list of the National Speakers Association. I saw that there was, and I had this already in my mind, as you guys know how the universe works, right? And to get back into this, and so I saw his half-day free or workshop for like $25 or something, nothing, right? And so I went to the workshop and just instantly, I just knew. So then he offered a weekend at his house in Encinitas. It's awesome.
It's right house.
It's absolutely awesome. And so we did the weekend, and one of the days, and I think he changed it to 2 days now, where we're actually on stage at the Carlsbad Theater. Right? It was absolutely awesome. And then I took it a step further, and I worked with Jeff one-on-one as and that's what really built my keynote. The Tommy story, and I just spoke at the tradition today in Fallbrook, and I wouldn't. He helped me with little things that I never would have thought of to really just put it all together. So I just wanted to share how we connected and how I really feel, and that is the honest to God truth. So,
let me give you some value since you've been so kind to watch this Mutt and Jeff show for the last 15 minutes. Just a couple of tips about speaking that I think are contrary to how most speaker coaches would instruct. And the first is you need to be exactly who you are. And you see the people who get on stage and they try and be who their coach or their mama or their client.
Or they think they should be.
They think they should be, yeah.
Yes.
And immediately they lose their fire and their fervor and their passion and their credibility.
And authenticity.
Yeah, because
right?
we know, we've been telling stories as human beings 99 times longer than we've had devices that told stories to us. So for most of our history, there weren't even books. It was stories. It was stories. And so we have this, in our DNA, is a capacity to really understand who's telling the truth and not.
Yeah.
To really discover, to feel, to almost intuitively. A good story well told is powerful, and a good story well told necessitates that there is a resonant core of authenticity that comes from who you truly are. And so if you look at TED speakers, the ones that are most highly rated, they break all the rules. They yes. They do, who knows yes. what they do, and we love them because we say that person is exhibiting what we want in our own lives, which is to be free, to be who we truly are, and bring our passion to life. And that's what makes for a good speech.
That's it. That's it. Because when we're speaking without the camera, you're not counting my ums, right? I'm not counting your ums. I don't care where your hands are, right? It doesn't matter. So I want to tie this in, and you'll be able to add to this a little bit. But Terry's saying Stephen King says that it's not the story, but the storyteller. Yeah. So here's like at the end of the half-day seminar, right? Good. Jeff had asked everyone, "Hey, what was your take? What did you get from this? Was there any golden nugget?" And for me, it was simple. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. Is you don't tell the story, you live the story. Mm-hmm. You live the story. And once you said, I never heard that before, right? Once you said that, it completely resonated, because I'm very, I use my hands. I'm very animated when I speak. So not only did he help me with my talk, but when I look back, where it really kind of closed the gap for me was he shared with me ways to physically control the stage, which was so natural to me. Instead of trying to be in one spot or just pacing back and forth, there was a reason. There's a rhyme and reason for all this. So it's a real art to understand this, and I'm just tipping the iceberg. So I got a lot to learn, but I just wanted to share some things that I got. What do you think from the quote?
That's fantastic. No, absolutely, and that's what it's all about. And I think part of being on stage and being yourself is you have to also live a truly magnificent life.
Yes.
To be a good speaker, you can't be it's like you can't go to church on Sunday and be religious.
Right.
Or spiritual.
Right.
You can be religious. Maybe that's what you can be.
Anybody. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But to be truly spiritual or a holy person,
you have to live it.
You have to live it. It has to be how you are the rest of the week. So it's the same thing with being a great speaker. You can be a good speaker on stage, and that's all you are. But to be, I think, a truly inspirational speaker, inspirational, one who has deep, profound effect to other people, you have to live that, and then you come to the stage, like Joel Osteen. I don't know him, but you sense that this guy, this is who he is.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, so he comes to that church on Sunday, and he's not preaching. He's not preaching. He's just sharing who he is.
And he's doing it in his way, right? Yeah. Very monotone, very dry sense of humor, right? But that's him.
Yeah.
And then you have somebody else like T.D. Jakes, right?
I don't know, but I'll trust him.
I don't know if it's Baptist or whatever, but he's much louder, very, that's just the way he is, right? So I wouldn't be able to, like, if great point, if you said, you know what, you need to study Joel Osteen and talk like he does, I would be, they would laugh me off the stage and be like, are you kidding me? I mean, I literally came into Grand Tradition. If anybody's familiar with it in Fallbrook, it's pretty high end, just like you see me here. And I didn't know if they're going to hand me a broom or a shovel and say, what are you doing here? But
or let you in at all.
Exactly, right. I was, you have to be who you are, and it's the first time as a public speaker, professional speaker, that it allowed me to be who I am, and it made it so much more enjoyable. That's what I love about the live streams. It's real, it's raw. What you see is what you get, And
there's Caitlin asking us a question.
Oh.
How do you get over the nerves when talking?
Great.
Fight or flight? Do you have any tips? Yeah, I was just talking, I think, with our friend Carissa here the other day. The notion of fear is, and well, you could speak to this as well, but you're the fear guy.
Right.
But fear is anticipation turned into that flight or fight mechanism. If you can take the anticipation and use it into energizing, connecting, expanding. I mean, as this professional speaker, if I don't have some nervousness, then I get nervous about not having nervousness because I'm too blasé. You want to have a sense of nerves. I forget who it was. I think it was Jimmy Stewart who talked about he threw up before he went on stage every time he went on stage. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's athletes like that.
Yeah, so I don't think getting over nerves is the answer, except maybe you accept them and you say, now I'm going to focus this. I'm going to use this as a sense of energy and passion that I'm going to then give to my audience. So think of it instead of as energy and a gift from the God saying, you know, right now you are the Energizer Bunny. You got your finger in the socket of spirit, and you're going to go out there and rock their world and take the stage. And then, of course, the challenge is to be like at a train set, a transformer, where you take that down a couple of notches, and you're not just ranting like a mad person on excess adrenaline or amphetamines, but if you can ground that energy and ground your voice and ground your person and plant your feet on the stage and use that energy in place, not waltzing up and down the entire stage like I've seen some people do when they get excited.
That's me.
At first.
That's me.
So I know that answers your question, but use that as the power you have, transform it into something. Here's one more tip. You got me started now. Once you realize you're not there for yourself, it's not about you, it's for them. Remember, it's not about you, it's about them. Then that energy dissipates.
Takes the pressure off.
It really does.
Right?
It's not about how you look.
That's a great point.
You know, the nerves will dissipate when you realize I'm excited, and it doesn't matter really what I look like, how well I do. I'm just going to do something for these people. The nerves dissipate, and the energy that comes from anticipation is in service to those around us, and that's a great experience.
And one of the things I found, right, working with you, is this alleviates a lot of the tension. I actually had a game plan. Like, in other words, I had a starting point. I had a roadmap, right? This is where I'd start. This is where we're going, and this is the end result, right? But you just do it in your own flavor. That took a lot of pressure off me because it's already, now it's just a matter of fine-tuning it and making sure that it's you, making sure that it's real. But at least there's a roadmap. Yeah. For me, that helped. And I just, I'm probably the opposite of a lot of people. I have to relax myself. I get so energized that sometimes I'll even forget part of the talk,
which is fine.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? But that's a great question. I think it was answered awesome. So,
well, back to your point about the roadmap, there are techniques. I'm not just saying you get up there and you just open your mouth and the words come out.
Right.
You know, one thing we do in these courses is we talk about how to build a roadmap for your story with an arc and beats. So you're not limited to a script, but you kind of know where you're going. I talk about these talks as being like leading an expedition. You have to have your destination firmly in mind with stopping points along the way, because you can't get to the top of the mountain in one step. So once you've got that map in hand, that's what gives a leader confidence. I'm not just making this up. I've got skill, I've got direction, and I know where I'm going. And then you almost back build, the same way you would take a bridge and build one side and start from the front, but you've got to, or dig a tunnel.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to make sure you know where you're going, or the two tunnels will miss.
Yes.
So you begin with the end in mind, and you have a game plan, and that gives you confidence as well.
Yeah, see, and that's things that you're going to get when you sign up for his course. I mean, it's just, and it's hands-on. I mean, it's completely hands-on, and I think the weekends you limit it to a certain amount of people.
6 people.
6 people, just to get that intimate one-on-one. And also, the other great thing is I have a mastermind group still with 2 of the participants, right? At the so we still, a matter of fact, we're going to be doing a live stream with them next week, promoting what they're doing. But yeah, and I want to add something else about professional speaking, or speaking in public, right? I had a sports nutrition store when I first moved out here in 2008. It was struggling when I bought it, and I bought it at the end of 2008. So everyone in my inner circle wanted to put me in a straitjacket because of the economy, right? I never was in that business, and it's a brick and mortar. I don't know anybody out here, and so they all thought I was crazy, so I knew I was doing the right thing, right? Number one. Number two, what really helped boost, and within a year and a half, we were fortunate enough to triple the numbers and grow it, and enough to be able to sell it. But my point is, what really helped catapult that store was I started doing seminars at gyms, dojos, personal training studios, getting my name out there and positioning myself as the guy to go to in North County for sports nutrition, and that just that exploded. So that's the power, really, of public speaking when you do it. you know?
Yeah.
And if it's, most people are fearful of it. So you need to figure out your why, make sure that why is big enough, and keep moving forward, right, to conquer that fear. So you don't leave that on the table, you know, before your ride's up.
Yeah, no, I do
Right?
think, exactly. And I do think that the great point there is that we look, just as Terry suggested, we need to model the thing that we most fervently believe. So you are modeling enthusiasm and health and vitality, excitement, and you did that by going out and speaking in venues where you could be visible. So whether you're an author with a new book, you're leading a seminar, or even if you're in an organization where you need to be heard or your ideas need to be furthered, speaking, telling stories is the most important thing. I just say this last thing about storytelling. My PhD is anthropology, so I am a doctor, but I'm not a doctor. Don't call me with your urology problems.
Right.
Right? Yeah. But my actual, here's something you may not know. My PhD is in anthropology, but my specialty is folk study, folklore anthropology, which is all about the power of story. And it turns out that when you tell a story, there's a part of the mind which is engaged that actually lives that. And that living of the story through our imagination means that we embody it. That's why ideas and numbers and facts go in one ear and literally out the other, or figuratively out the other.
Yeah.
But a story seeps into our pores. We remember it and we embody it.
Yes.
And then it's us. So if you want to make a difference in your organization, in your career, tell a story and you'll be remembered. You'll be remembered.
Yeah, and you'll position yourself. Kate said it was awesome. She's never heard that. You know, it's not about you. Mm-hmm. It's about them. And then Terry said she loves public speaking, and she's so glad you're helping people out there like that. I know that you put together a program as well, right?
Which
for
program?
Public speaking, professional speaking. Remember, you were putting together a program. Is that finished?
Which program?
Your online program.
Oh, an online program. Yeah, we haven't actually, hasn't finished
speaker?
up yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's working on an online program. I was fortunate enough to be invited to be part of the audience, and it was awesome. So once they get that completed,
absolutely.
Where can they follow you?
You can go to my Facebook page, just jeffsalz.com. We have a courageous speaking page. You can follow me there. And if you'd like to know more about the online program, our courageous speaking classes, just send me a message, and we'll put you on our community list, and we'll keep you posted as the online program and our weekend events. They fill really quick because we only have 6 places. We only do them every couple of months. So if you're interested, let me know, and we'll make sure you're the first to hear.
Definitely well worth it. And if you're not going to be a public speaker, you're not going to be a professional speaker, all it's going to do then is enhance your inner confidence. It's going to build your self-image because you're going to conquer a fear that you never thought you could conquer before. And that's so vitally important in life. That's just life. Because as we know, the fear barriers are bullies. The only way to stop a bully is step up to the bully, or they keep taking your lunch money, right? And I like to eat, so I don't want to give my lunch money away.
No,
but that's really what it is. Oh, she said, "Could you please spell your last name?"
You know, I never graduated from high school, so I can't spell my last name. But which is true, actually. I'm a high school dropout, although I got a PhD.
Now I know Terry enough. She's going to start yelling at you. So you better give her the name.
My last name is Salz, S-A-L-Z, as opposed to salt with a T, S-A-L-Z. And my first name is Jeff with the regular J-E-F-F, not the British spelling of J-E-O-F-F, which really is pronounced goof anyway, apparently.
So there you go. I just learned something else because I said Jeff Salz. So now it's Salz.
Salz.
See?
Yeah,
that's another thing that I learned, right? You never know when you come to Encinitas what you're going to get. But is there anything else that you want to share with before we wind up? Is there anything else that you want to add in?
No, just this. I'll just tell the story. This is how I start all the courageous speaking events, but it's from the Jewish Kabbalah, that when God made the life, it broke into a zillion pieces, countless pieces, and each of us represents a little fragment of that piece called life. And this notion of tikkun olam is that what we're here on earth to do is to come together again and to reform that entity called life. And that only happens by each of us living our fullness and coming together and sharing our stories. So I would just encourage you to ask yourself, what is it? What is your unique facet of life? What is your unique story? What piece of light do you reflect that no one else reflects? We need that. We need you to tell that story to become all you could be and to come together with all of us, and to create what I believe is the future of this earth, which is people coming together of diverse beliefs and understandings and races in unity. Because actually, I'll finish with this. A friend of mine was talking about Protestantism and Martin Luther, that the early Christians believed in heaven and hell, but Martin Luther said this is heaven. That we're inhabiting right now is heaven.
Your own heaven and
hell. That's why it's really important that if there's problems, we tend to them.
Yes.
Because this is heaven, so we got to get it together. This is it.
This is it. This is what we signed up for.
This is as good as it gets, so let's make it as even better.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And I think that's where, that's really, at the end of the day, I think that's where our connection really is, because we look at life the same way. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Let's just go make it happen. And yeah, so hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. You know where to find, Terry said she found you, so you guys know where to find them. And if you have any troubles, just let me know and I'll make sure I connect you with them. And as always, just keep making it happen.